Hello, everyone, and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today, we're going to be talking about the Funko ReAction Jaws line of 3 3/4 inch scale action figures, as well as ponder possibilities that Funko ReAction could do going forward. And to do that, we have Matt Brando on the line today to help us think about hypotheticals in terms of where Funko could go with this line should they choose to do so. Hey, Matt, how's it going today?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing swell. So, I think we can both agree that both you and I think that Jaws is pretty much one of the greatest movies of all time.
Oh my God, Jaws is a masterpiece. If you want to be an actor, you watch the top three billed people from that film. It's a class. It is so amazing.
My earliest memory of Jaws is, I think it was actually my mother who got me into it because it was one of her favorite films. And when we were kids, me and my siblings, we would watch it like on Friday nights, and it was just a fun thing to do. And we also live pretty close to the Gulf of Mexico, which I don't think there's any great whites in the Gulf of Mexico. But just having that idea that, we're not that far from the ocean, and, there could be like these kind of creatures in there was just kind of a cool thing in a way.
Oh, when I was a kid, growing up in the Great Lakes region, I always thought there were sharks, there wasn't any, just because of Jaws. For me, it's like Jaws and Jurassic Park like go hand in hand with your childhood. Same with Star Wars. It's like just all alternates to one another. Like you saw Jurassic Park one day, next day you watch Jaws. Like that's how much you grew up as a child with this film.
Yeah, totally. And I think especially we grew up around the same time. So we were kids in the 90s, and anything that was a hit in the 90s, I think we were probably pretty drawn to, like Jurassic Park, and they re-released the Star Wars films in like 97, and
right.
What else did they do in the 90s? Independence Day, which I liked a lot. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, it was pretty. When you were a kid, it was amazing. As an adult, I was like, it's okay. But the 90s type action films like that. But I really don't know what to call them. Like your childhood nostalgia films. I don't know.
Yeah, something along those lines. Just things that you remember, and you remember quite fondly, and as an adult, you kind of look back on that, and it gives you a pretty good feeling just remembering those. And I think that's why we collect things a lot of the time, is we like to recreate, that feeling that we had as kids, and like to have a little piece of what we saw in those films that we love so much.
I think that's actually the number one reason why I do collect things. Like if I wasn't so obsessed with seeing a T-Rex on screen as a kid, I wouldn't be obsessed with the T-Rex as a toy form. So that is 100% on point.
Yeah, because imagine if we had these toys, but we didn't have like a film, like, we didn't have that context. Like, it'd be pretty cool to see like the big Red Rex as a toy in the store, but, it's just not the same unless you have something to base it off of. It's kind of like when you look at other toys that we might buy that aren't necessarily tied into any franchise or film, like maybe like, for example, I was going to say my Papo dinosaurs, but they look so much like the Jurassic Park dinosaurs.
Right.
It's kind of hard to just, if you don't have something to base it off of, you're just not going to appreciate it as much, I don't think.
I guess that's a testament to how awesome and how much of a masterpiece Jaws really is, and how much you really love Jaws as a kid and as an adult. Because Jurassic Park, they had a supplementing toy line, and Indiana Jones has toy line, and Star Wars has a toy line. Jaws never had they had one toy back in the 70s, and it's like worth like $400 now. It's the crappiest looking dollar store shark ever. And they had like no toys, they had no action figures, no nothing. And so for you and I and whoever else that's probably watching or listening to love Jaws so much and not have a supplementing toy line is pretty damn astounding.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go back to Star Wars, I think it was really Star Wars that pioneered the whole 3 3/4 inch scale figure thing, which, of course, Star Wars didn't come out till 77. Jaws was 75. So maybe if Jaws had come out like in 79, maybe it would have had like a huge toy line as
True.
well. But in any case, it is really cool that Funko has decided to give us these 3 3/4 inch figures, even though their ReAction figures aren't exactly what I would maybe say are like the highest quality figures. They're not that articulated. They don't have the best likenesses, but
Right.
they very much do look like what these figures might have looked like if they had they come out back in the 70s. And I think they did a pretty good job along those lines.
I'm not so much into the Funko Pops. I know a lot of people love them. I'm not into those at all. And then I see the Funko reaction figures, and it caught my eye because of the scale size. I'm like, oh, look at this, it's a Terminator figure. And then I look at it, I'm like, this doesn't really look like the Terminator. And then and I'll see like the Jaws stuff on the shelf. I was like, oh my God, there's Jaws figures, and they look pretty damn good for 3 3/4 size scaling.
Yeah, totally. And I have a few pop vinyls. I don't have that many of them, but I'm not like hugely drawn to them. I just have a few odds and ends here and there. But it was kind of the same thing for me. You know, longtime fan of Jaws ever since I was a kid. And then one day, I'm trying to remember, it was last summer, I think, that they came out. And just like around the time that they were released, I had seen something. It must have been on Facebook or Twitter, and you know, it mentioned these figures, and I'm like, oh my God. So I had to go on Amazon, and I bought all three of the figures right away. And I was like, dang, because it's Jaws, you know, it's so cool that they
Yeah.
actually made figures for them.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know. They were displayed somewhere. I don't know where they were. It might have been like a toy fair, but it was like a really secluded room type deal. I think like Funko was showing off a bunch of products, and then they had the prototype shark, and then the guys. And the paint actually looked really good for them for prototypes. I actually might prefer them. I don't know if you've seen them or not. The shark is darker. It's like a darker gray rather than like a more natural lighter gray. I kind of like the aggressiveness of the look of it. But Quint's painted differently. He's like painted more like with more paint on his eyebrows and stuff. And I liked it. I like what I have now, but I liked what they used to have also.
You know,
But
I think I know what you're referring to. It was like a picture that had like the shark on top and it had the
yeah,
other three figures on the bottom. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that shark did look a little closer to what it looked like in the film, I think.
Yeah, it looked more like a toy rather than like the realistic animatronic that we end up the toy version we got, I should say. But my first, I didn't see any of that stuff. I didn't know about that because I wasn't into the reaction figures, and I was only into like Jurassic Park, Star Wars. And then I remember me and my buddy shot a wedding, and like probably 40 minutes away from where we live, and it was south of us. And then there's a Toys R Us. Like, dude, can we stop at Toys R Us? Like, man, all right. So we go to Toys R Us, and I'm like looking at. Jurassic Park. I think on the opposite end was the reaction figure. So I turn around, and then that iconic poster with the shark going up, and then they had that on the card back, and I was like, oh my God, Jaws figures! And I immediately bought Quint, and I didn't know if I wanted to buy Hooper and Brody, but I literally like I think the next day or two, and they had I think 2 cases, so I think a case might have had like one each, and like they only had like one Brody and one Hooper left, and everyone else was gone, like freaking scalpers.
Yeah.
So I bought those immediately, and now they're just getting crazy prices on secondhand Amazon, eBay, wherever. It's kind of makes me mad.
Yeah, they were kind of hard to find initially. I remember like I got mine on Amazon. That's where I ordered the three initial figures. And then the shark at the time was like really expensive on Amazon from third-party sellers. But I remember going to this store, and they were really hard to find at Toys R Us initially. Like I maybe would see like the Chief here and there, but then like to find the others,
Right.
it took a little while until I saw all of them. And I don't even think I ever saw the regular shark at Toys R Us, not once.
No, I don't think I did either, but I remember I did see the Quint. I think I was messaging you. I literally had like no money in my bank account. I might have had like 40, $50, and they charged like $30 for the Quint with Shark at Toys R Us because I guess they didn't sell enough at Comic Con or whatever. And I think I messaged you. I was like, I have this in my hand. I forget what you said, but I ended up not buying it, which I guess was a big mistake, but I mean, you gotta live.
Sure.
But man, that was a big mistake because now those go for like $70 to $100, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I was really surprised that one day. I think I did a toy hunting adventures the day that I found it. And
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
yeah, I was just kind of like, I didn't even know it was a Toys R Us like exclusive as well. So it kind of like shocked me that they would have it. And I was like, well, of course I'm going to buy it. And, like you said, it was the right move because I never saw it there again. And now they're going for like upward of $100 on Amazon and eBay. It's insane.
Yeah, it's sad. I think for my Hasbro's Kill Jurassic World video, it went kind of viral, that I included the Jaws figures in there, and I had a shot of the little peg with the little sticker at Toys R Us saying Jaws reaction figures $9.99, and they're all gone. It's just like you see them once, and that's it. You'll never see them again.
Wild. So yeah, I mean, I think like looking at the line itself that Funko gave us, like you said, some of the prototypes looked a little bit better, especially the shark.
Hmm.
But I think for it's really cool that we even got these figures, and they priced them at about $10, MSRP. The shark I think was like $15 or even less at MSRP, which is like a heck of a deal in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that shark is so cool.
It is totally cool, and I imagine if you're skilled enough, you could probably manage to do a repaint of some sort. I'm not skilled enough to do that, but I'm sure some are.
I mean, I can paint, but it'll chip. I don't know why I have a problem with the paint always chipping on me, so I stopped.
But yeah, I think that they look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the Chief. We got the Chief, of course. We got Matt Hooper. We got Mr. Quint. And then, of course, the variant of Mr. Quint with the shark, which it's basically the same shark. It just has like blood splattered on it. I think it looks pretty cool. Some people aren't really feeling it. Some people say that it looks a little too gruesome for something to find at Toys R Us. Maybe that's why it's so hard to find. I have no clue. But I think for what they gave us, they did a pretty admirable job, considering that this is part of the reaction line and knowing what their format is and what kind of target they're trying to reach with those kinds of vintage-esque figures.
Yeah, I guess two things. I remember from my review of the figures, it says like on the packaging, like not an action figure, and then like it's an action figure, all within the same like card back. I'm like, oh, which one is it? Funko is because I don't know if it's small parts kids could swallow, but that's the same thing with Star Wars stuff. So it's just like, well, what do you do? Because Star Wars films are pretty much PG-13, the new ones, past two films, and Jaws was a PG, but it's essentially a PG-13 movie, and it's just like you can't say that it's not an action figure just because of the movie rating, because it is an action figure, and kids. I'm sure kids nowadays still watch Jaws. I mean, if I had a kid, yeah, kids watching Jaws. I don't care. That's how good that movie is.
Yeah,
But
totally.
it's like, is it an action figure? Or is it not an action figure? Well, it's kind of an action figure, but yeah, it's geared towards adults because people like us or even older than us grew up with the film. But I guess the second part would be, I think that's probably why I was turned off a little bit about the shark with the blood splattering around its like jaws and stuff. I was like, that's a lot. It's like almost like too much from what I remember in the film, just picturing it in my mind. So I was like, I'll hold off for now, not knowing it's gonna be like a rare item.
Yeah, I think they did go a little bit overboard, but I'm pretty happy with mine.
Oh
And
yeah,
the thing, like you're saying about, some figures, like, I don't remember that description on the back of the box. I'll have to take a look at it. But it's pretty crazy because, like, with Batman v Superman, obviously it's PG-13, yet, it got a toy line. And even like Deadpool, which is rated R, they're going to come out with like a Marvel Legends figure. It's like kind of where,
yep.
are they going to notate on the packaging that it's not a figure? It's just kind of a weird kind of area.
Yeah, yeah. They had they have tons of Deadpool merchandise. They have the old Marvel Legends Deadpool. Then they got now for sale, and you can buy it because it's not sold out in rare, like the Legends, the select one. I mean, I don't think they ever put on the packaging, oh, Deadpool was a nasty comic or whatever. But I was gonna say something about the shark from earlier. What you're talking about, just the regular shark. I think yeah, you're right. It's like $15. I remember I thought I bought it for like maybe 15, 20 on eBay shipped, which is not bad. And then it got to low as like $10 at Walmart.com. I was like, damn, that's a good deal because that shark looks pretty good. And the cool thing is it could swallow figures. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
It is pretty awesome. It kind of reminds me a little bit of some of those old JP dinosaurs that had that sort of a feature.
Yeah, the Bull Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
Yeah, it's a nice shark, though. The only thing I don't really like a whole lot about it is that it doesn't balance very well. It's kind of like if you place it down on a flat surface, it, just lays forward, which kind of looks a little weird. But other than that, it's pretty solid. I think I bought two of them for myself, and of course, the one that came with Quint, with the blood on its mouth. But I also bought it for my mom for Mother's Day this past year, and I got her a Quint figure to go with it, because the Quint's her favorite character, and she loves Jaws a lot, and in fact, I remember her telling me once that this is when she and my dad were dating in high school. That's when the movie came out, and she told me that my dad took her and all five of her siblings to go see Jaws. I thought that was pretty awesome.
That is awesome. Your mom and I would definitely get along. Quint is hands down my favorite character. That's the guy I had to buy that one day, and I went back the other days to get Brody and Hooper. But Quint is like one of my favorite movie characters of all time.
Absolutely. And if I remember correctly, it kind of seems like he was the harder of the three figures to find at Toys R Us.
I think you're right, yeah, because when I went back, all the Quints were gone. So I got Quint, and some idiot got a Quint, and he bought the whole set himself or whatever. And there's only like Brody and Hooper, and then another store would have Brody and Hooper, and I don't know, maybe just everyone loves Quint. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. And it's like you say, when you look at these figures, the card backs are just so nice. They very nicely replicate the poster art. And, I almost felt like I needed to get a second set to keep carded, which I haven't yet. I did get a Hooper because that's the only one that I was able to get for, at MSRP. Or
Right.
I think I got them for like $6 on Amazon. This was a while back. But, yeah, it's just you look at that packaging and I don't know. It's just like Jaws has like a really unique poster, and you look at it. I think anybody would look at that anywhere in the world, probably that knows films, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's Jaws."
Oh yeah, it's so iconic, and I'm actually the same boat as you because when I unboxed it very carefully because I wanted to keep that card back, and I'm like, damn, I need to buy another set to keep one on, new on card, and yeah, I haven't seen anything yet of a set coming up that is affordable to buy one, just to have like this is so cool, just keep it in the packaging.
Sure. And then that was another thing about like the shark packaging is like it had an insert on the inside with just like a water like an ocean background,
Oh yeah,
and which is pretty awesome. Anytime they care a little bit more about the packaging and go a little bit further just to make it a little more unique and interesting. And I've been able to use. I'm sure I've used that background like in a few skits. I've used it in.
yep.
For like thumbnails, it's just a really cool background. And when you don't have like the actual ocean to use as your background, like it actually works pretty well.
Yeah, it actually looks really cool. I remember when I took it out, I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, they actually care here. I like this toy company. Give me more.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to talk about. Is we loved everything that Funko did with their Jaws reaction figures, but now we want to ponder some ideas. Should Funko decide to pursue like a series 2 for this Jaws reaction line?
Absolutely. We need more. There are so many more costumes you can have, accessories, other characters. And my number one, I'm just going to say it right now, my number one want is the orca.
The Orca would be pretty dang awesome.
The orca is such a pivotal part of. Okay, so if it isn't, back to the argument of is it a toy or is it not a toy? Say it is a toy. When I was a kid, because we didn't have Jaws figures, mom would buy, or whoever would buy, Walmart, wherever, like just a toy shark and like some crappier boats or whatever, and I would pretend that I'm doing Jaws in the tub or whatever. And if you had, everything, you had all the characters, the shark, and then you had orca for kids to play in the tub with. Oh my god! If I, was 6 years old or whatever again, that'd be like the greatest time ever.
That would be really awesome. And like especially if it could float in the water.
Oh yeah, that would be so sweet if it had some buoyancy. But the thing is, if you have the orca, here's the thing: like NECA and a lot of companies, they don't do certain things because it won't sell or whatever.
Right.
It's kind of stupid, but if there's a market for it, it would sell. And for my opinion, my number one want of the orca is that it would, because I think McFarlane, somebody made like a statue. It's like goes for like $350 to $400. It's like a very small statue of like the orca with the shark and the orca's tipping over, like
Yeah.
the very last like couple scenes of the film.
Uh-huh.
And that thing goes for like $400. And if you made an orca and people can do their own dioramas and stuff, that thing would definitely sell. And I think ReAction's making it. They're making the Ripley Power Loader with the Queen Alien set. And that thing's only like $30. So that's kind of a vehicle. Like I would consider the orca a vehicle.
Right.
So no more than $30 for an orca, or if you throw in like a different costume figure or a chum bucket with the life vest with Brody and the orca for $30, or a shark cage with Hooper, man, I would buy two of those.
Yeah, I mean the orca, that would be totally awesome, especially considering that the fact that they already did each of the 3 human figures with the appropriate costumes to place them on the orca. So really all they need to do is make the boat and we would be set with that little diorama.
See, I would buy like anything they would make Jaws wise. Like
Oh
if
yeah.
they made the mayor, even though the mayor's he's just an actor. He doesn't get like on the third act for the boat and stuff.
Sure.
But I would love to if I was a kid have the shark eat the mayor. Like stupid stuff like that. You can have. I'd buy anybody, even like Harry. Hey, Chief, you don't go in the water. Like, I'd buy that guy. I don't care. I would buy. I had an idea the other day before doing this little podcast. I had an idea to buy like Alex with the raft, and you can have the shark eat Alex. But I don't know if we could have sharks eating kids. I don't know if we
Right.
could sell that or not. But I would buy it. That'd be awesome. You have his mom, Mrs. Kittner or whatever,
Yeah.
with two costumes, one on the beach and then one the widow.
Oh
Like,
man.
I'd buy anything Jaws related, even the sequels. I don't care. Give me a Michael Caine figure. I'd buy it.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with Jaws is that, it has such a limited amount of merchandise. We're pretty much restricted as far as toys go to these Funko ReAction toys that they're doing. And, pretty much anything you might see, if you like the film, you're going to want to buy it. And I think that'd be a pretty cool thing. I mean, just looking at it, there are a few costume changes. Like you could do the chief in his police uniform. You could do Matt Hooper like in a different sort of outfit that he wore in the film. Like at one point, he had his suit and tie when he went to the chief's house.
Right. Get the wine drunk.
Yeah, you ought to let it breathe for a moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the mayor, like it'd be really cool to get him in his suit that he had with all the little boat anchors on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really, really cool.
Hell,
Yeah,
have the billboard with the chick on the raft and shark spray painted. Like have that as like a diorama.
yeah, like if you had the billboard, one side it was like ungraffitied, and the other side it had like the graffiti on it already.
Man, I would seriously buy anything. This is the thing. Jaws has so much appeal just across the board, from like old people to like younger people to like really young people that are growing up with it right now. That I don't see how it can't sell like anything, because it's so popular, and it's not just because it's a classic, but it just appeals to everybody. And I would, like I was saying about the raft, like Alex Kintner, I'd buy that. I'd buy the tiger shark being hung up and down. You can get that guy. A what? I'd buy that guy. I mean, Jaws is such a timeless classic. I'm actually surprised Jaws doesn't have like a Big Lebowski convention like every year.
Sure. Yeah, especially when you consider it's not just Jaws. I mean, they did do 3 sequels, which, they're kind of hit and miss. I mean, they're not as great as the original, but, that's the number of films that they did, like for the Jurassic films so far. And you just don't see like that sort of thing, like the conventions or the merchandise. And
Right.
I'm a little surprised at that. I'd like to see a little more.
Also, like, I don't know, you barely see people like cosplay as Jaws people at like conventions, which is surprising because everyone loves the film. I guess they just don't do the costuming.
Right? And that would be pretty cool. Like you look at footage from Comic-Con and you see all 3 of the guys. You see the Chief, you see Hooper, you see Quint, and then maybe they have like a puppet shark or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully somebody will do that. I think that'd be pretty cool to see.
But man, I don't know. I'm pretty damn sure the only like licensed toys and collectibles we have are that statue from McFarlane, the reaction figures we got, and then that like really old school $400 dollar store toy. That's the only licensed products we have. We don't have any Legos. We don't have hot toys. You have to buy like a custom hot toy, I think, if you want a hot toy. Like there's nothing, which is surprising. I mean, maybe if there will be a new sequel, which probably won't happen, but that might spark some interest. But I guess people, toy companies are always looking for what's coming out lately that we can tie into later, rather than like, let's come out with timeless classic toys, especially a timeless classic like Jaws, which pretty much has no toys.
Right. And like, just like pondering the possibilities, like one of the other ones you mentioned was like a shark cage with Hooper in it. If you had the orca, we have the shark already. If you had the orca, then you had the shark cage, and then you, like you're saying, you're a kid and you're playing with these in a tub or in a swimming pool or what have you. And I mean, you could even like if you had like a GoPro or something that you could take underwater, you can make some pretty awesome like toy skits like that.
That's a great idea. Now they have to make that so I can do that.
But yeah, there's just so many possibilities. Like if Funko wanted to take this line and, continue building upon the initial wave of figures and the sharks, I mean, there's just such a huge amount of possibilities that they could run with. And I really don't think they could go wrong no matter what they do. Like you say, even if you do like Mrs. Kintner, or the guy that goes, "Oh what," or like Bad Hat Harry, anybody that you see, you'd want to add that to your collection because it's Jaws, and they've done a really nice job with that first wave of reaction figures, and I just think it would be really cool if they went a little bit further with this line.
Not just that, but I mean, some of us are, most of us, I'd say, are completists. So we buy it anyway just to say we have it and we're, it's in our collection. We have everything. We can tell it to everybody.
Absolutely.
It's kind of different for most people, I guess, like myself with, say, Jurassic Park and Star Wars. Like, I consider myself a completist, but there's no way in hell I'm buying the Pteranodon set from Jurassic World or some random side characters 3 3/4 inch that's been shelf warming or peg warming for 8 months. I'm like, that those I wouldn't buy, but Jaws side characters I totally would.
Absolutely. And there's less room for them to go wrong if you think about it, because like reaction figures aren't absolutely intended to be 100% faithful to the aesthetics from the film. Like they do have a little bit of like flexibility, like with some, because they're simple figures that are trying to meet like a certain aesthetic. So, I mean, it wouldn't have to be like an exact representation of those characters. It would just need to be pretty close, kind of like the initial wave was. And with such little room for error, I think a lot of people would be drawn to wanting to picking those up.
I mean, they look really good. Back to what you were saying way earlier. $10 a pop with a little accessory, I'd say it's pretty good. I mean, nothing I can do about the 5 points of articulation. They are what they are. They look pretty good compared to having nothing at all. And if I can pick up a figure and look at it and be like, okay, this is Matt Hooper. Like, you did your job. But if I can pick up, Hasbro's Owen figure and I pick it up, I'm like, this isn't Owen. But if I put that in the diorama with Raptors, okay, yeah, that's Owen. But if your figure's good enough I can look at it and be like, yeah, that's Quint. Boom, you should be gold.
Yeah, totally. There's just so many possibilities they could do if they wanted to continue with this line. I don't know. We just need to press them, tell them like on Twitter and Facebook, maybe make videos, say, hey, you guys continue this line because it's badass.
Yeah, we have to start a campaign or something. Maybe Baptiste could help us. He's pretty good at that.
Totally. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many ways that they could go. I'm really happy with everything that we've gotten so far. And yeah, Funko, if you're listening, we love Jaws. We'd love to see more from you guys. And here's the other thing is that Funko has, they do 6-inch figures too. Like, I don't know if you've seen like their Rocketeer. They did a reaction figure for it, but they also did a 6-inch figure in their Legacy line that came out last year. I picked it up. It's a very nice figure.
Wait a minute, they made that, not NECA or anything?
No, it's Funko. They have a line that's called Legacy, and they're 6-inch figures that they do across different franchises, different movies and stuff. And they did a Rocketeer. So, and the Rocketeer, I mean, it's not, the Legacy is like more authentic to the film. It looks like a more accurate figure than the reaction lines do. So imagine if they took the Jaws figures like Quint and, Brody and so forth and made them into more authentic 6-inch figures.
I just Googled it, and because my buddy, he literally bought that I was with him like 2 months ago, and I literally thought that was like NECA or somebody. I didn't think that was Funko. Wow, that's actually really cool. Now that I know that, literally right now, I want the 6-inch variants of those and like 6 inches of everybody. I'd pay $20 for them, and I want a bigger shark now too.
Yeah, if they're gonna do 6-inch figures, they gotta do a 6-inch scale shark, which would probably be a couple of feet long, maybe.
Yeah, probably 2 feet. I don't know.
It would be big. It would be big.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really hope that they consider going into the realm of 6-inch figures for the Jaws, in the Legacy line, and maybe a shark. And yeah, I mean, they really could milk this thing and just keep it going for a long time. Like you said, there's even the sequels. They could, pull from those films, do some of the vehicles, like from maybe like Jaws 2, like the ski boat, or, just different things that they could look at. And there's just a lot of ways they could go. And, here's hoping that they're considering, at the very least, looking at possibilities for doing that and continuing this line and building upon like all the great figures they've already done so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if, Jaws Revenge sucks, it's very unique that the shark attacked the banana boat. So you can have like a banana boat. I mean, the sky's the limit. And Funko, because they sell so well with their pops, that they can really do anything. I know the reaction figures aren't selling too well besides Jaws because I've seen like Fifth Element and think of another random one, Nightmare Before Christmas and like Terminator, whoever. Those
Yeah.
are all like being clearance because they don't sell well. Probably because they don't look that great, or maybe no one cares about Fifth Element, but people care so much about Jaws. I really think they should go after Jaws.
Yeah, totally. And I have seen quite a few of these on clearance for the reaction line, like at my local Toys R Us stores. And it's just like random ones, like you say, like Nightmare Before Christmas or Rocky Horror Picture Show. Or I think that they also had some random ones, maybe like Alien and like the Universal horror movies. But the Jaws ones aren't figures that I've seen on clearance. Like they tend to, from what I've seen, it looks like they're selling very well. And every time that they get new ones in, which they haven't for a while that I've seen, but every time that they did, they had a tendency to get them sold. So, that's a really good sign.
Yeah, those Jaws ones were gone ASAP. Well, I just had an idea. What were the figures of the franchises you just mentioned? It just slipped my mind.
Rocky Horror Picture Show, the Universal
Oh, Alien.
Alien, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing: if you have Funko making the 3 3/4 aliens, you also have Diamond Select making the mini mates, and then you have NECA making their own little figures. So NECA makes like 7 inches for $20, and then mini mates makes like $8. You get two figures, and or whatever, one xenomorph, one human, and then that's for Select. And then Funko for 3 3/4 reaction, you get like one figure and accessory for like no more than $10. If you had the money and you can only pick one, and you want to pick like the best looking one, you're gonna pick NECA. So it seems that it was too crowded for Alien for not selling well for reaction on reaction's part. Because there are no other options for Jaws. We always scooped up those Jaws 3 3/4 figures. Like there are other companies making Jaws figures. I'd probably be like, oh my god, forget that, Funko. I'm gonna buy the 6 or the 7 inch NECA. But NECA doesn't have that. You guys have it. If you make like a 6 inch, I'd buy that ASAP.
I wouldn't even hesitate. Like if I saw that or knew it was coming out, I'd have them pre-ordered like as soon as I knew about it.
Yeah, me too. I'm starting to. I discussed with you earlier in private. I'm like, I'm done with shopping in store. Shopping in store sucks. It's a waste of time, gas, whatever. And I'm just been pre-ordering online all the time. I'm like, oh, that was easy, done. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things, of course, about being able to pre-order and get things in advance, or not even in advance. Let's say you want a figure, you just go online and order it if it's available. As long as it's not a Hasbro figure, it might be available. So yeah, I mean that's certainly another route they could take if they didn't want to do these in the stores anymore, because like we've been saying, a lot of them haven't been selling all that well at Toys R Us. If they wanted to do something maybe like online only or Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon, whatever, there's always like other routes for them to go in terms of getting it to the market.
Even if they wanted to go limited produced, like Orca or whatever, and they had pre-orders up on the website. I actually don't know if Funko does pre-orders on the website, like say NECA does. But if they would, I'd totally buy it, and because they could go that route. Also, if they're worried about it not selling, you can just put a limited 3,000 or whatever, and then bam, that'd be it. Just because it's a limited edition, it would also sell. I mean, that's why I bought the damn Hateful Eight figures. Like, oh my god, limited edition. The Django figures were limited edition. Now they're rare. I want those Hateful Eight figures. So they could go that route too.
Yeah, totally. And even for like conventions like New York Toy Fair or San Diego Comic-Con, a lot of the time companies, I know Maddie Collector's done this, not so sure about Funko, they'll have a pre-order where you can pre-order the item and then, you can pick it up when you're at the show.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Even though, man, I need to go on a rant one day about San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, because that really sucks for the fans that don't live in San Diego, can't get to San Diego. San Diego Comic-Con is one of the craziest conventions ever, and the line waiting is atrocious, and you might not even get the items you want or meet the people because it's so crowded now. It's getting out of hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm about to find that out firsthand, because I've lived in San Diego now for 3 years, and I haven't gone to Comic-Con once, but I'm going this year. So, we'll have to keep an eye out. If you see anything you want, let me know. Well, hopefully we can track everything down.
There's I think I forget how much in advance they do for hotels, but it's like a long time. It might be up to like a year, or it's at least a couple months, and it's like kind of like buying Adele tickets or something. Like it's like open and closed to get to just hotels, let alone getting ticket lines, and it's it has to be some kind of contract with like NECA and San Diego Comic Con, whoever owns the organization, the festival slash. It's just like, oh, we'll give you this amount of money and you give us an exclusive. Like, okay, cool. And it's like, no, like, what about the regular fans? Like this, like, okay, the Newt thing. Like, Newt's a very popular character. People have been asking for it for a long time, and they're making that San Diego Comic Con exclusive. I'm like, oh no. And so when the Quint came out, I'm like, God, that sucks. And people, before it went to Toys R Us, that Quint was on eBay for pretty much the exact same price it's on right now. It was like at least $70. I'm like, there's no way. And then you messaged me, like, dude, Quint's at Toys R Us. I'm like, no way. And you showed me a picture. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go. Didn't see it. Then I saw it like 2 weeks later. And then hence the story I've already told. But so you gotta kind of hope and pray that no one buys it at Comic Con to scalp it. So
Sure.
they give them to Toys R Us. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very true point as well. Comic Con has just become so crazy. I know even locally, like people will rent out one of their extra bedrooms, and they can get a lot of money, during that weekend. Just saying, hey, I have an extra bedroom, you can rent it out for the weekend, and they can charge a lot of money. People will pay it. It's pretty crazy.
That is ridiculous. All because we're just all nerds and we love that type of stuff. And then, oh man, it's kind of getting crazy and out of hand. They were talking about like switching venues to somewhere else so it's bigger, or having a couple different locations, but I honestly don't know what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, they were talking about moving it possibly to the Anaheim Convention Center, which is about an hour and a half north. And
Right.
it is a bigger convention center. I've been to both. I think I went to the automotive show at the San Diego Convention Center, but the Anaheim Convention Center is a lot bigger. I've been to the NAMM show there, which is a music industry trade show, and it is a bigger location. I can see where if they wanted to move it there, it could potentially be a big thing too, because you're right next to Disneyland, and you're not too far from Los Angeles and stuff. So, but I mean, at the same time, I don't know if it would be the same. I mean, San Diego Comic Con is kind of known for being San Diego Comic Con, largely because it's here, and it's just become such a big thing. It's like ingrained in popular culture. You see it in movies, you see it on the news, you see it like on late night talk shows and all over the place.
Yeah, I know. Life is weird. They call the Anaheim Angels now the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So it could be like the San Diego Comic Con in Anaheim. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the Star Wars convention was that last year or 2 years ago. That was in Anaheim.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was in Anaheim. And definitely a convention center that can hold that kind of thing. And they even do the D23. It's the Disney convention. They do it there as well every other year, I think.
Right, I think that's correct.
Yeah, you mentioned the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's just a crazy. I know I'm getting totally off topic here, but I lived in Orange County for 5 years up in before I moved to San Diego, and yeah, there was a pretty big outcry when they did that, because that name just makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. The same off topic. I like the Dodgers from the NL. My favorite AL team is the Tigers, but I root on the Dodgers in the NL. And right after that happened, like the season started, and like Nike put out a shirt that said the Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles. So I bought that and I wore that for a long time.
Crazy. But yeah, if Funko is listening, I mean, there are just so many ways they could go with this. They have so many options of marketing them, from conventions to in store to doing them online. So, I mean, there's just a lot of venues for them to push their product. And, they have a big presence on social media. They're very good about responding to their fans and customers, which is something you don't even see from the big companies like Hasbro and Mattel. So, I mean, there's just a lot of ways that they can go about this. And, here's just hoping for the future that they're going to, continue to build on this line, continue to offer more Jaws products, because I know people like you and me would eat them up without hesitation.
If they're not going to give us new sculpts, new figures, an Orca, at least for the fans, just reissue the Jaws 3 figures and then the 2 sharks because I definitely want to buy another set of the three figures, and I need to buy myself that Quint pack. So if you're not gonna make anything new, if you're not gonna listen to anything we've been suggesting, at least do that. Just one wave. Just give us one wave, or throw them online, and tell us, because a lot of people missed out on it. Because a lot of people didn't know. Like I was sleeping on it. I didn't know about it until I saw it in the store. I was like, oh my god! And I think more people, once they know about it, they'll eat it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think they would have a problem selling, these figures if they wanted to bring back the same three human characters and the shark, or even, the Jaws shark with the bloody up Quint figure. I don't think they'd have a problem at all, especially with that 2-pack. All they would need to do is, find like a new outlet for selling it, and they really wouldn't have any problems. A lot of people would buy them, considering the price that they're going for online. A lot of people would be really happy if they made that move. So yeah, at the bare minimum, I can totally see them doing that, re-releasing these items. And even if you wanted to repaint the costumes like on the characters, there's a lot of possibility even with just reissuing the same toys.
Right, you just repaint it yourself and you have another alternate costuming. That's actually pretty smart. So bam, I just bought another figure because I want to repaint the costume. Look at that idea.
All right, well, thanks so much, Matt, for being on here. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you do?
Sure, I pretty much also in the same realm of yourself as toy reviews. Do a little bit of video games from time to time, and do some movie discussions. Not so much reviews. It's mostly like if I think a movie is underrated, I'll talk about it and analyze from a different perspective rather than like a straight up review. But mostly toys. I love toys and collecting, just like everyone else listening, I assume. And mostly just do Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Alien, Terminator, like all that stuff, and Jaws. So yeah, that's me.
Absolutely. Must love Jaws.
Yeah, you have to love Jaws. It's like, you don't love Jaws? Like, don't talk to me.
It's un-American not to like Jaws.
I think it's worldwide not to like Jaws. Like, you're not a human being. You're just like a robot.
Totally. Well, okay, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Once again, thanks to Matt Brando for coming by and discussing the Funko ReAction Jaws toys with us. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out Matt's channel. I will throw some links down in the description. And as always, I want to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Till next time, my friends. Bye-bye.